when those at the lower end of the ladder complain about not being fairly treated, it doesn't get as much prominence as this one, but it's the same rights that they have.
That's what I was telling Mark at that time, that this is a nation, it's supposed to be a nation of laws and not of men. But what we have is a nation of men and not of laws. So that is the reason we have this kind of situation. And a party is supposed to be a platform for the pursuit of particular interests that can resonate within the people. But the way politics is played here is that we tend to see it as a restrictive program for a few people, and then you want to ram it down the throats of the majority.
You know, what's your reading as a journalist in all of this leading up to 2015?
Exactly, that's what I was talking.
Especially if these can't be resolved, because I'm sure you heard Elizabeth say, well, it's just a little challenge they have in, yes, and he says, well, they will definitely overcome this. So, 2015, and this continues, what is likely to happen to the ruling
Thank you very
party?
much for that question, because I was going to go to that. You see, it is all about 2015. It's all about permutations. It's all about Jonathan. That is why in their party yesterday, in their celebration yesterday, they were all talking about loyalty to Jonathan. It's about 2015. Because what they are seeing is that the map, the electoral map, as it stands today, with those governors outside the ken of Jonathan, problematizes Jonathan's chances in 2015. That is the crux of the whole matter. That's why I say it's not about law. It's about, are you on the law side or you're on the devil's side? That's what the story is about. It's like, because if they look at the permutation, you have restricted Jonathan, as it were, to Southeast, Niger Delta, and part of the, you know what they call it, part of the Middle Belt. And then Jonathan has to find a way to really make the numbers.
Mr. Mashe,
that is the politics.
Mr. Mashe,
whether that is going to be the case,
Mr. Mashe,
I don't know.
It's about the numbers.
It's about the numbers. It's about the geography.
Mr. Mashe,
it's the politics of geography and the geography of politics.
Mr. Mashe, you know that, the president is still the president. I mean, so we must acknowledge that and, accord him the respect that he deserves when we are referring to him. But, just quickly, a host of people have said that this is all about internal democracy, which is not present in any party. I mean, in the PDP, it doesn't seem like we can see it there. That's why we're seeing this crisis there. Also, the same thing in the APC. Is it ACN now, APC, CPC? And everything is just about power. How can Nigerians ensure that there's internal democracy within parties? Can they have a say in that?
I think it has to come from the people themselves, because the politicians cannot give you internal democracy. I said earlier that none of the parties will want internal democracy to operate in this country, because they want to be sure who they put, who succeeds after the last count. And the reason is that if APC opens its primaries, are they sure PDP candidates are not going to emerge? Their plantings will not emerge. And then when the election comes, at the end, you discover that a PDP man is running against a PDP man in the other party. So what we are having in Nigeria is a case of primitive politics, where people, or in the US, they used to call it the machine politics, where you discover that it is just about a clique, an oligarchy that is in charge. The people, the civil society, are not yet involved in the workings of this democracy in the way that it should be. And that is the problem. So we need, at the civil society level, to really galvanize, to make sure that what we are seeing at the party levels actually reflect what is on ground. It has happened before in other countries. During the progressive era in the United States.
Do we have the same kind of civil society? I mean, to the extent that people can consider them credible enough to speak on the issues without taking sides?
That is a very big problem. I agree with you. It's a big problem. So if the problem cannot be solved from the civil society, wow. The party itself comes from the society. If the party reflects a society that is a civil society that is weak, because we talk about strong states and strong societies, but what we have is that we have a weak state. If the state is weak, it means that the state is not able to represent the civil society in what we call today dividends of democracy, making sure that the objectives of governance are fulfilled with the people.
Help us connect this dot, because I mean, we'll talk about political party internal democracy on the one hand. Could it also be that wherein lies, let me come up with that one, the place of the electorate here? Because we do know that in some parties, if they know that the electorate really will have a say in all of this one, that should have influenced the way they go about their internal democracy. But here, it looks as if the reverse is the case.
You know, that is one of the reasons that they believe that there is a crisis in PDP. Because they know governors play tremendous roles in determining the electoral fortunes of their states. So when you have these strategically located governors, as I said, it's a geography of politics and politics of geography. Here you see them take very strategic parts in the country. It's a way of saying that unless you perform something extraordinary, unless you want to use strong-arm tactics during the elections, those states are going to go against Jonathan. That is the fundamental fear of this state. That is the crisis.
Wow, interesting.
As far as PDP is concerned, it's about 2015. It's not about fairness. It's not about law. It's not about decency. It's about power. It's Thomas Hobbes, is Machiavelli come back to life in Nigerian politics.
Oh dear. And we're not even yet in 2015.
Not yet.
All right. Sam Omatseye is the chairman, editorial board of The Nation newspapers. Thank you for coming on this morning.
My pleasure.
We'll return in just a moment here. Please join us again.